and well pleased. The Bible tells us after that, immediately after that, he goes into the desert and he has been tempted for 40 days. And after his temptation, he begins to do his miraculous work for the next 3 years. Is there something that you're wrestling with? Is there something that you're struggling with? Is there something that you keep finding yourself over and over and over engaging and you're wondering why? Perhaps that's that momentum shifting moment for you. Perhaps that is that game-changing moment for you. Are you willing to embrace it? Are you willing to accept what God has for you? Are you willing to walk into those things that God wants to see you walk into? What will you do with that moment? Yeah. Perhaps it's a friend. Is that the friend you need to embrace? Or is that the friend you need to walk away from? Is that the class you need to take? Or is it the class you need to change? Is that the neighborhood you need to be hanging out in? Or is that the neighborhood you need to bypass? Is that the phone call you need to have? Or is that the call you need to hang up on? What's the moment for you? Do you say yes to that job? Or do you say no? If you're a young person, say yes. What's the moment for you? Each of us have a unique destiny. And if we do not fulfill the destiny that God has for us, we'll go to our graves with the world having missed what we have to offer. Don't miss the moment. Don't miss what God is doing. As fearful as it may be, embrace it. As uncomfortable as it may be, embrace it. As awkward as it may be, embrace it. Can I share with you a story and I'll get out of your way? It was about, I was about 20 years old. I accepted Jesus Christ when I was about 10 or 11. Got baptized about a year later, somewhere around there. And up until the age of around 14, like any typical teenager, young person, I was going to church and I was having a good time. I had associates and friends at church. But around 14 or so, my family, who loved the Lord, got busy in other areas of life. And church no longer was a priority. And at about 14, I didn't have to go to church anymore. And so I showed up on Christmas, because they gave kids presents. Showed up on Easter, because the day was chocolate. And if you are Indian, if you're black, you just go to church on New Year's Eve. And so we showed up to Christmas on New Year's Eve. That was when I went to church. And so from 14 to about 21, I did whatever I thought I was big and bad enough to do. And I have scars to prove it from the back of my head until down my arm. I got fragments, bullet fragments that will never be removed. When it gets hot, I look deformed in the back of my head because it just swells up from the scar tissue. There's things in my life that I did from 14 to 21 that I can't take back. And I remember having a young lady that I thought I was going to marry. And I was looking at my life, and I began to ask questions. What am I doing? Where am I going? What's next for me? And praise be to God, my mom had started going back to church. And I told my mom, I'm just going to join you. When is the next time we have church? She said, Wednesday night.